Hi everyone, what's brewing today? Welcome back to iMocha SIP Skills Intelligence Podcast, where we deep dive into workforce transformation, innovations into skills and talent intelligence, and innovation in talent strategies. Today's topic for the podcast is reimagining learning and development (L&D) in the era of AI and transformation. In this episode, we'll speak about change in strategic vision, practical implementation with some real world examples for learning and development. The discussion will be focusing on identifying skills gap, implementing effective training programs, and leveraging technology to ensure continuous skills development, and especially in the era of AI and transformation. Listeners will learn practical strategies about identifying skills gap in their organization, identifying how to implement effective training program, leverage technology to foster continuous learning development, what's the how AI and transformation has changed the game. For this, today we have with us Mr. Deepak Kumar Arora. Deepak is the Vice President, Head of Learning and Development at Birlasoft. He's having over 28 years of experience, including expertise in talent management, change management, and modern learning techniques. At Birlasoft, his focus is on driving employee skilling initiative and enhancing the learning experience by integrating advanced platforms, tools, analytics alongside fostering self-directed learning. Over to Deepak to introduce himself and his work and in his journey. So grab your coffee, grab your mocha, and let's get started. Over to you, Deepak.
Thank you, Amit. Thanks for the introduction. I guess I don't have to say too much on my introduction because you have said it all. Uh, but having said that, glad to be on this forum, Amit. Glad to be part of this larger fraternity. A lot of good work is happening across in the learning ecosystem right now. And with AI coming in, I think one of the biggest use cases of AI is within the HR space. In the entire hire to retire cycle, there's a good amount of discussion which is happening on how AI can impact. So happy to be a part of this discussion, Amit.
Thanks, Deepak. So Deepak, just to start with, because the topic is reimagining L&D in the era of AI, how AI and digital transformation and reshaping workplaces, how skills landscape are changing. What is the major thing that has happened? As because you have been like in the industry for almost 3 decades, pre AI era, and I would say a lot, right? So what is the main landscape of skill landscape which are changing here?
See, frankly speaking, the core remains the same. Uh, there are various disruptions which come in, various enablers which come in, enablers which either ease the kind of work that we're doing, bring us a much more better analytics analysis on the existing data. So over a period of time, what you've seen I look at from a HR and learning space. Uh, See, earlier there were days when everything was based on instructor-led training. There was a need for conducting a training program. Business comes back to learning and development department, say, let's conduct this training program. And we did it. But it was more to do with the fact that learning and development team had to work on table of content, connect with vendors and so on, and then get trainings executed for the business. Those were very early days of learning. Then came in just-in-time learning. So you had computer-based learning, you had e-learning coming, that getting evolved into e-learning. So computer-based trainings initially, we used to get them on CDs. You could buy a CD of Windows NT training or Windows 95 training module or C Sharp training module and so on. From there to more this entire piece coming on internet because of the fact that internet, the bandwidth speed over a period of time evolved and all of us started having access to this bandwidth. And not just that, and subsequently it moved to our mobile devices as well. So the access to learning changed drastically from event-based learning to going to a computer and doing learning to anywhere, anytime learning. That is how it evolved. And in the last 10 years, I think we were doing the same. We were either learning through Google, we were exploring internet a lot, the bandwidth space, the mobile space was changing, a lot of apps coming in, people getting innovative on the apps front, that hey, if you have e-learning which is available on your laptop, It should be available when you're traveling, when you're driving, when you're doing other, some other pieces. You could always uh, take up learning at that point of time. So that was the case of learning till date. But in the last 1.5 year, AI has been a great game changer for us. A lot of things have evolved, and that has to do with you know uh, the way it can look at the data. Data has become very important here. The way it can personalize learning basis you as an individual, the way computational power is enhancing your learning experiences. A lot of things is changing when AI has come into picture. We will talk in details about those areas, but overall, what I see is learning at this point is getting hyper personalized. Personalization was there. You were recommending learning to people. That was happening in the learning management system or a LXP as well. And that time they used to say they used to call it as Netflix of learning. You search for something, or Amazon of learning. You search for a learning adjacent to that, whatever learnings are available, that could be provided to you. But I guess that was still a particular level. Now it has to look at you as an individual. You as an individual, what are your preferences, what are your skill sets, what kind of projects you've done. The kind of data which is available at an employee level is huge. And from there, the learning is getting more and more hyper personalized. So this is an era of hyper personalization. But yes, one thing which has also changed is the way skilling is looked at. Earlier it was subject based, now it is skill based. Skill has become the currency.
My one question here, Deepak, is like, see, because now from traditional learning to personalized, hyper personalized learning, the learning is in hand of employee candidate, right? Now, uh, everyone has their own interest and own aspiration that may or may not align with the business objectives, right? But you as a L&D leader is the person who need to manage the best for both. For employer, getting into a learning which might be, definitely you need to preserve and like respect the interest and aspiration of an employee, but it should be in line with what is the strategic objectives of organization. Like I heard one of our customers saying like, we give someone like free learning courses. They started searching yoga, and just yoga and Ayurveda like content kept coming, and it was an IT company. Okay, so in this scenario, how you as a L&D manager is managing both the things so that they are happy and they are growing, but that is in alignment with what are the strategic objectives of Birlasoft or your organization.
See, I have one a very different viewpoint on this. When they say give, you mentioned the word a yoga class or some other hobby related classes
But
also
but Deep-
people.
but Deepak, this customer found out that only 22% learning in their organization is
Okay, I
aligned
get
with
it.
the
I get it.
strategic objective. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the point is, if you stop it, if you don't give all this, does it stop people from using Google? They wouldn't stop.
No.
Does it stop people for searching different avenues? Right now, I guess everyone is hooked onto reels also on YouTube, or
Yeah.
that you're aware of that. I mean, what stops people from doing that? But the point is, the more you restrict, the more people will explore outside. I think what is important here is one, which we believe in, is to democratize learning. It doesn't. I mean, it's okay. Employees have a need to do something which is of their personal interest. They should be doing. But how do you align the organizational goals is very important. See, this is an effort which doesn't just have to happen bottom up. That employees will look for trainings and they have to do trainings. That's a bottom up approach of doing it, but it has to converge at various levels. It can be top down, not starting at different top down levels, at your manager level, managers level, and so on, to the business head level, to a enabling function head level, and so on. It has to be driven from that perspective. People should understand the fact that, hey, I'm in this organization, and if I'm here for growth, I'm not here for just doing one task. I'm here for growth. What is my growth path? What is it that takes me to the next level? And what should I do for taking me to the next level? That's very important. If the organization can provide that ecosystem of this is how your career journey looks like in this organization. But to do this career journey, this is what your possible learning paths could be. And these are the skills that you should be developing. If the organization offers that path, employees see the value. Then there are also, since I come from a technology company, I'll talk from a technology company perspective, is the fact that if there are some hot skills in the market or niche skills in the market, right now everyone is talking about agentic AI. I know that for agentic AI developer as a role, people would want to do it. Why not? I mean, I might be a Java developer or a .NET developer, whatever I'm doing, but isn't it lucrative for me to look at this as an option? Yes, it is. So if I'm able to provide them some of these roles which are available in the company, and if you build your skills, get certified, you better come and pick up that role. Why not? We're open to doing that. If that culture exists within the organization, I think that's very critical to drive the learning. Beyond that, you can't stop employees from doing what they wish.
Yeah.
Employees would want to do it, they can do it anywhere else. But it's important how the organization has this culture of learning and how you give that employee that ecosystem.
Got it. So basically, restriction is not an option here, but providing self-directed career trajectory with giving them the talent to options to connect with the opportunities within the organization. You talked about career path is one of them, like might be
See, this is
certification.
this is one angle from an employee perspective. I
Right.
could have angle from you might service 10 of your clients. When
Yeah.
you work with your clients would also say, hey, I'm moving into cloud, or I'm moving from a organization specific system to a cloud-based system, in on-prem system to a cloud-based system, or might be getting into some newer platforms. And it says, hey, why don't you look at my team, which is your team that is working on it? Can they not develop these skills? That's another viewpoint. So obviously there's a good amount of multifaceted approach here, which would
Mhm.
really be beneficial, because for the organization also, when a client comes and tells you this, that's more of a, they're coming and consulting you for it, which is a good approach. Why not?
Good. So Deepak, now like with AI, there are a lot of tools which are helping. So there was no tool in the past which was like doing the work of a developer, like it was assisting all the time, right? Now there are some tools, whether it's a designing, whether it's front-end development, back-end development, writing code, testing. There is some AI which is like one needs to adopt to do a faster and productive, create a productive workforce. While doing this, like, are you finding out any resistance from uh, some set of roles within the organization, be it developer, tester, designer, others? If yes, like how you, like as an L&D, are helping in overcoming it, and what is your role in for data and AI into this particular thing? Because like being a software development company ourselves, I do understand that whenever we wanted them to use something, and there is a change of like there is a inertia, right? And some people may adopt it soon, and someone may take time. So how are you facing any resistance here? And if yes, how are you managing and tackling the situation?
See, it's not about resistance actually. It's about the fact, it's I might go to the extreme and say it's about survival, but the point is, everyone has latched onto the bandwagon of AI. So I guess what is more important is what is that you need, an organization needs to understand what is the problem that are trying to solve with AI. What kind of learning outcomes do you hope to improve by introducing AI? Or what kind of, if it is developers, what kind of effort that a developer does that you're trying to improve through this effort? That's very important. You need to assess your existing infrastructure also, in terms of, how well is the existing infrastructure working and how is it equipped to take the next level. Within AI, you have ChatGPT, you have Copilot, you have Gemini, multiple different offerings coming from various clients. It depends on an organizational's offering. What is organizational's offering to their client? And then you work on what are the tools that make sense for us. It cannot be just one size fits all, get chat GPT and everything problem solved. It doesn't work like that. See, also the fact that till last one and a half year, when chat GPT and other various other generative AI related initially came in, people were wondering how to apply. People were trying to use chat GPT to see prompting, how does it work. It would sound very exciting, but somewhere the rubber has to hit the road. So now, if you see this year, what we are seeing is a major difference in the way AI is being looked upon. Earlier, it was the fancy of having AI, and everyone starts using Copilot or ChatGPT to respond to emails and all that. So initially, it was how can I enhance my productivity? And somewhere down the line, we also got to understand that people, in order to respond to emails, there were some common lines when we knew we could easily make out that this is, this is a response from ChatGPT they put together. Those kind of things. But the point is now people are seeing applicability. A lot of stuff where now we are talking about application of AI in ERP space. All the OEMs of ERPs right now are embedding AI into their workflows. It's happening right now. Within the
Yeah.
development space, the kind of frameworks that are coming in, uh, AutoGen, LandGraph, whatever there are different frameworks that are coming in. If you see, the point is, it depends on each organization to take up which tools which are very important. See, but please understand, AI is still a tool. It is from a learning perspective, AI can be a tool, but it cannot be a teacher. It cannot replace a instructor completely. Uh, what is also important is, within the space, people should understand that yes, I can use AI to be better productive. I can use AI to do some amount of coding, but there is a human centric design element coming in. There is an intervention which is needed by humans also. So it's about the mindset also, which is very important in any organization. That it is not just the fact that some things will get automated. You'll have now AI agents coming in. They will reduce some amount of effort that you do. But the thought process in how to utilize these agents, how to use it, the human piece is still there. There has to be a piece of social piece, which is important in any organization. That the fact that uh, when you work together, uh, it is more effective. You cannot isolate people and through providing them with all these AI tools and still make it really happen. You have to make sure how can you mix the human centric piece and the AI piece in a real effective manner. But yes, as an organization, we have to look at how this has to evolve, how AI can bring in a certain amount of automation, do away with certain things which were more something which was a regular work that had to be done, something monotonous could be removed. But then the human piece of it can focus more on elevating their thought process to the next level. That's more important, Amit.
Got it. And maybe like building a culture of continuous learning and fostering that environment is looks like it's a key right here.
Yeah, yeah. See, for any organization right now to be successful, they have to be a learning organization. There has to be a thought process on this. It has to evolve. You cannot do away. Even for that matter, your organization, you have an assessment framework, but it has to evolve every single day.
Yeah.
You're learning every single day because the organization has to come into innovations to stay relevant in the market. So I'm sure that for employees also, they will understand the same way.
Yeah, yeah. So in fact, we to added skills intelligence as a newer product to tackle that. Good, good. And and Deepak, like for doing this, so for example, from like maybe in IT industry that was even earlier, but there is a job-based architecture and now there is a skill-based architecture, and jobs
Yeah,
are a bit rigid and skills are transferable and deployment can be at a finer level. So
yeah,
now at we were at a stage where both of the architectures are existing, right?
yeah.
For L&D now, how to like so this is for my audience, like is so for L&D audience, how should they think about, because like Birlasoft is a 10,000 plus people company and you are doing it at scale. So how to think about this two architecture and making L&D more effective, especially when AI and data is playing a role here.
So, couple of things. The way uh, it's evolving right now, there's a mindset shift which has to happen. You have to have a strategy. Uh, you have to have a strategy on how you leverage data to identify skill gaps. How do you personalize learning? How do you personalize learning? How do you measure the effectiveness of this training? But what is important here is the skill first learning strategy. The skill first learning strategy will be very important, and the entire design of this has to be data driven. These two things are very important out here, and that's what organizations are aiming for right now. uh, what is critical now is, from the past to now, skill has become a currency within an organization.
Yeah.
uh, so when I have our freshers come in into our organization and we address them, I tell them to start two SIPs. Obviously, the first one is, since they've started earning, they need to put some money for saving. But the second SIP is in acquiring skills. I think that goes a long way in helping them put more money into the first one. Because the more they get into this learning mindset, learning agility mindset with skills, that is very important. And that's the reason in a learning and development space, everyone is talking about badging, leaderboards, gamification. What's that whole thing? You're trying to kind of monetize the entire thing to say, hey, if you have acquired this skill, you got these many points. You acquired this skill, you get these many points. This is the skill index of my company. But having said that, I think what is important is organizations' thought process is changing right now. Everyone is clear on what kind of target skills I need for my company. What are my future roles which are coming in this company? So that, we need to make sure that there are job descriptions for those roles. There is a need for each of these roles, what kind of skill sets and what proficiency levels it's needed. Obviously, in order to do so, first thing you need to have is a skill taxonomy, a structured hierarchy of skills, which gets broken down to a sub-skill level, to a granular level of a skill at the lowermost level, as a leaf level skill, as we call it. I think that's very important. Along with that, definition of what proficiencies ought to be in each of these areas, whether it's a technical area, behavioral area, domain area, or functional. You need to have a clarity on how you are going to look at proficiency for all these skills. That's also important. The next piece, which is very important from an employee perspective, is, can I see my skill gaps basis my current status that I am? And subsequently, can I also see that, hey, if I need to bridge the skill gap, what am I supposed to do? That's very important. So identifying the skill gaps that needs to be addressed through learning interventions, I think that's very critical. So that is something which, from our perspective, we have to look at. So skill is very important, but beyond that, even the the data that is churning out of these learnings, whether it is the learning management system data of people, what kind of skills they've completed, how much engagement they have, what kind of learning activities they're doing, to performance data, what kind of projects people are working on, what kind of skill gaps exist, what is the improvement needed there. Then maybe you're doing assessments of skills uh, through one of the platforms for assessments. You're doing assessments. So, what level of assessments do people have? Then the factor of external industry related data. It could be job portals, it could be anywhere else. There's a lot of industry data which is available in terms of trends, the market demands, the competitor analysis could be one of the areas. But a lot of these things would be needed to bridge the learning gap. So, what is very critical, I think one of the critical piece, which people talk AI, but they don't talk data. I think the data piece is very critical for any organization. But yes, when you have these data points, then what you can do is, you have skills of people, you have proficiency levels of people, you have skill gaps of people. Then what you could do is, you can personalize the learning paths to a very big extent. You can really do hyper personalization. You can create more adaptive learning models using some of these adaptive learning technologies, which means at an individual level, basis the aspiration or also their current role, you tell them, hey, this is your skill gap currently. Also, if you're aspiring to be doing something, then you can add a component of aspirational role that, hey, my current skill is this, but my aspirational role is this. Can I bridge that skill gap? And then for us as a learning and development team, can we provide skill based curriculums? Can we provide learning journeys which take care of specific skills and competencies, allowing the learners to have a kind of a hybrid model of learning? They need to develop the skills. They need to do some kind of projects on those skills, maybe a gig project, structure that could be existing in an organization, and then obviously do get assessed on that and to show the proficiency level movement. For us, it will also be important is to introduce more micro learning. You see, I believe that people talk about cohort based learning, people talk about bite sized learning. There are different verbiage which is used across, but please understand both are equally important. And studying deep is also important, and just in time learning is equally important. So just don't demean any one of them. Both of them have their own relevance. When you're doing just in time learning, you are working on a project, you want to get access to some learning, you have to get it there itself. So that's just in time. But you also need to develop deep competency. You need to understand, if you're becoming an agentic AI developer, I should know Python, I should know AutoGen, I should know LLM, I should know prompt engineering. So I need to be getting deep into that area. I should really work on it. So it's a combination. So I need to create a good ecosystem of self-directed learning. That's very important. So I think couple of these elements put together could really be effective at the end.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. Like so much to learn, like from your talk currently, Deepak. So Deepak, now my question, Karan, because you being a leader in the company and you have uh, exposure and awareness of the business problems. Now, skill data, okay, skill data is used in recruitment, it is used in learning, it might be used in deployment, resource management, workforce planning, and at many places. Okay, and while an organization of Birlasoft size try create it, there might be different business outcome. Each of them, like be it project system, be it services automation tool, be it learning, recruitment, or others would like to use it. And there might be different names or different silos that may get created for the skills data. Okay, so typically, according to your experience, maybe past experience, and now who should own the skill data? Because deployment has altogether a different perspective on skill data, while learning has some different view. Maintaining the canonization, normalization, having adjacent skills, and having the best part of it. Who should own it? And is industry able to solve that problem? Is it ongoing? Is industry in a good stage of solving this problem, or there is a big work that is required on this particular area to make it centralized, that can be consumed, and not only centralized, it is accurate and up to date. So what do you think? Is there a space here?
See, I don't see any issues at this point here. It is, I mean, who owns the skill, and is it happening in silos? No, it doesn't happen in silos. In the entire hire to retire cycle, if you are not integrating it properly, you have not planned your systems right. If you're not using a common currency of skills across, you are not doing the you're not doing it right at all. Please understand. I cannot have my learning and development team working on a separate set of skills, my talent acquisition team working on a separate set of skills, my talent management team, talent development team working on different set of skill taxonomy. It has to be common. So at an org level, starting from the point that I might have a demand coming in from, because there's a client requirement, I might have a demand coming in. What is the demand? On what skill sets is it? What competency is it? To that demand becoming a role in my company, to that role looking for a seat, a person. It could be an internal employee or an external employee. Should I look at what is the way to look at what measurement on skills has to happen? To the point that maybe I have to hire from the market, and from the market system, where my ATS system, which is my the like ATA system is for getting candidates, that system to my onboarding system, and subsequent to onboarding system, my skill structure in the organization for an employee, all of them have the same language. They have to own it. So I don't think so it is a single ownership anymore. It's a
Okay.
council of ownership, which has to be owned by not just the enabling HR function, but the business, which has to go to the market, work on specific areas. They know their clients, they know the demands which are coming in. If all these elements in an organization don't talk to each other and use the same skill structure, it will never succeed. In fact, they should talk the same language to the extent that what I envision is that I could have a dashboard on my screen somewhere which says this is your mean skill index. Today, 10 people are leaving, so you're short by these
Skills
skills and
challenge.
this competency by so and so. In the next 3 months, you have so many people leaving, so you're short by this. But have you created so many roles with that same skill set? Can learning and development contribute and say, hey, so many people are on bench with the same skill set. They all talk the same language. Will the learning and development see that there's a gap here? Can I bring in training intervention? There are 13 people, 30 people, 15, 30 people sitting on the bench. Can I pick these people on bench and train them? So, I mean, this entire thing has to talk to each other. It is never siloed. Please understand. Otherwise, I don't think so. That question even arises right now. In fact, I feel that question is not even relevant at this point, Amit.
Okay, but there are complexity. Skills are changing faster, and many a times for the niche skill, you may need to see the adjacencies, right? And get a match and quickly train them. So, that's the reason I said, like for IT
See,
industry,
that
there are.
is yet to be solved by anyone, Amit. Um,
Okay.
I know that for that matter, okay, I have a requirement in SAP Hybris. I'm just taking a random example, some named
Mhm.
technology. I have a requirement there, but I know that people who know Java can really be reskilled there. But the 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 technology landscape is changing to a greater extent, to an extent that somewhere down the line, I think AI would play a very crucial role here. It can easily tell me what are these adjacencies which people can have skill. That is something which can come in from all this data that exists in the market, people who are there. You have different profiles of individuals, how they have moved in this space, what kind of basic level of knowledge they should have on previous skills so that they were became an expert in this area. I think couple of these things market intelligence can give us a lot. But
Okay.
yes, your point is there that adjacency skills and couple of other pieces, we need to have some kind of platforms and tools which will give us that. But it's evolving. It's evolving right now. So I see that these possibilities will always be there. Right now, some of these pieces we do it manually, but somewhere down the line, I'm sure that we will be able to do much better effort there.
Okay. So Deepak, now we talked a lot about AI and transformation that's happening. What do you think? What's next for L&D in this era now? Like whatever you have been doing, what's like apart from having transactional things, which definitely organization need to solve. What do you think? What's the next big thing in L&D that will happen because of this AI transformation and skills? Anything like, for example, in AI, agentic AI has happened, right? Do you think
Mhm.
about anything here that may come up or no? Like it will be see, many people are trying to transform business, and business transformation ultimately is a talent transformation, and L&D is supporting it. But is L&D is proactively doing something to create the workforce for future or something of that sort in IT industry at least?
If you're saying if L&D is doing something, I think what is important here is uh, the L&D team itself needs an upskilling here. So they need to be skilled because our L&D professionals, they need to develop skills for the future. They need to understand how AI, data, analytics, and learning technologies talk to each other, how they can really work. How can they embrace agile methodologies to design and deliver training programs? How can they bring in the design thinking pieces? Design thinking is very important here, please understand, because you need to now look at bringing the human element and the AI element together, uh, as augmented, not augmented, but something which really brings both of these combinations together. You cannot just give something to AI and let AI do the training and coaching. That doesn't work. So obviously, for learning and development, uh, we need to look at working with our business, becoming proactive partners, see the relevance of what they're doing, and imbibe those into our models. Uh, Focusing on future skills is going to be important for learning and development. So I would expect my team to understand what are the skills which industry is talking about. Somewhere down the line, they will be told to kind of develop those kind of roles. So they have to proactively do it, especially in the generative AI space. Uh, Even if it's a prompt engineer or one of those what was it called, agentic AI pieces. uh, can they work on what kind of roles are coming in now, industry is asking for? Can we do it right now? I think those pieces are very important. They should now be involved in. For them, the focus is also that, hey, what kind of skills make relevance because of AI coming in, from a human perspective? Critical thinking, that's very important right now. Structured critical thinking. How do they bring in more of coaching and mentoring? How those elements are very critical right now. And if you look at the World Economic Forum, they release this yearly report of state of labor, and they give the skills which are relevant for the next 3 to 5 years. The behavior piece is coming big time. See, technology will keep varying. Something will get outdated and something will come in, but the human aspect of evolution, how should they look at some pieces of mundane activities getting taken care by AI, but then how do you create your relevance in this space is very important. So that is where, for learning and development, the culture of learning is going to be really important for us. Technology tools, platforms are definitely there. I mean, when I look at AI right now, using AI, there's a lot of use cases within learning and development, from assessments, personalization of learning, uh, content creation, rapid content creation, uh, rapid assessments, connecting skills to learnings to assessments, connecting the dots together. All these places, there is good amount of AI coming in. Assessment, big time. In fact, assessments at various stages, assessments at the time of hiring, assessments at the time of a role change, assessments when you moved out from a project and want to move into a newer project, uh, assessments for, hey, you yourself wanting to prove that you have acquired that skill is important. So obviously, embracing technology for learning and development has become very critical. I have to create, earlier it used to be like e-learning creation was uh, intensive to put a complete storyboard, everything together. Now with avatars and everything coming in, the kind of tools in the market, you can create avatar and you can give the script and the avatar can start teaching. And over a period of time, the avatar can learn and can be a coach for you. And those kind of possibilities are there. But how do you use it effectively is going to be very important for learning and development professionals. I can create a coach, but what will the coach solve a problem? That the learning and development person should know, because the business has a problem. How will this coach help? AI coach help is going to be very important.
Perfect. So Deepak, like seeing like this is a startup energy and enthusiasm I have seen in you about L&D, innovation, AI. Great to say it. And particularly about design thinking, design principle you talked about, that every L&D professional even must adopt to it to stay relevant and be a continuous learner to foster it
Yeah.
further, right?
See, one skill I forgot to mention, Amit, is the fact that ethical AI. That's very important. See, a lot of these systems are all black boxes. All these AI platforms are black boxes. So how the decision making is happening internally, isn't giving the right results. I think that's very critical for learning and development professionals also. Somewhere the word explainable AI is getting used right now. That, hey, what kind of for example, today only I was hearing some news about one of those chatbot platforms, one of them, and it was giving it the kind of answers it was giving was very manipulated answers, which was not right. So the whole piece of ethical AI is going to be really important in this space also, and our learning and development professionals should understand that as well.
Good to know, like the human behavior, ethical angle with AI, because otherwise everyone talks only about AI now, and like like it looks like a wave, but in that wave, it's human who's going to ride it, right? So you need to have all human in it. So Deepak, as to wrap it up, any advice for L&D leaders, especially who are into mid career or entry level for L&D leader? These are the things like, see, you talked about CD, okay, and L&D entrant now, maybe from your alumni, like some them from Accelera joining now, he might not be knowing CD soon, right? So any advice for the L&D leader? You already talked about it. For our audience, you would like to talk about as an, like, because you have spent your career in this. So for the newcomers and especially middle management.
See, I would want to look at it's up to a learning and development lead manager, learning development professional to make their role. There's a complete, if I look at one end, you're tactical, you're just taking orders, get one training done, to you are a strategic role where you have a seat at the table. You have to choose which side you want to be at. That's very important. I think what is critical here is to elevate yourself to, to have the bigger context of the organization. So understanding of the business will be very critical for you in which business you are in. Your company is into which business. And there, how can you be a trusted advisor to your business leader? That will be very critical. I think without that, uh, moving ahead, uh, your role will, you need to decide on what you want to do. So that's one piece. Now, with AI and other pieces coming in, embracing technology will be really important. So that's another piece. If you focus on the skill piece, the skill understanding of skill taxonomy, how to focus on what skills are relevant in the market. Now, even if you look at right now as we speak, every organization is talking the skill language. So if you don't get onto this bandwagon right now, you might miss the bus. So you will have to make sure that happens. Understand the whole piece of cultivating a learning culture within the organization. You need to be someone who has to look at learnability. You need to look at how continuous learning is important in the organization. So how can you bring in that? That's going to be important. You need to be, the last piece which is very important is also, I would still want to bring in the fact that the whole piece of how can you make a more responsible use of AI in learning is going to be important. So that whole piece of ethical AI that we spoke of, ethical and explainable AI, is something you need to understand first. Because for organization employees to have confidence, you should be understanding, you should have a thorough understanding, then you can go to and talk to your employees to really imbibe this. These are a couple of advices, Amit, from me.
Yeah, good. Good, Deepak. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Yeah.
you.